Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Keith here, and tonight we are going to turn this Axial 10.3 into a four-wheel steering competition rock crawler. Okay guys, so the plan is to take our Axial 10.3, great truck. It's just been sitting on the shelf for a while. We needed a donor truck that we can get a scale, motor, transmission, transfer case, which this guy fits the bill from, plus he also has a portal axle in the front, and we already had a matching axial portal axle, that we took out of our Gladiator when we did the straight axle conversion on it. Highly recommend that straight axle conversion, really changes the entire feel of the vehicle. We really love it, the Gladiator. But anyhow, we're going to take the front axle out of this guy, throw him in here, because eventually this guy will get rebuilt with a VFD transmission now that we can get the mounts from Harley. And what was it? The VFD plus, straight axle conversion on it. So so the front axle is going to come out. We're going to use the front axle that we had out of our Gladiator, and we are going to build a moon buggy type competition rock crawler. We got our driver, P-Rod. He is 6.5 inches tall, and we're building off of the RC Rock Competition rock crawler page on Facebook. RC Rock Buggy Competitions. I'm sure you guys just seen Harley's video on there 2 weeks ago or something on his channel talking about it. Anyhow, we got our driver, we have a seat, we have parts. So we need to shut up and go outside to the shop and start cutting up some stainless and get the TIG electrodes all nice and cleaned up and get everything ready to go. Are we missing anything? No? I think we got gas. I think we're good to go. So we're going to grab the camera, head outside. We've had the shop heat running for the last 6 hours because it's -30 outside. But anyhow, we're going to go burn some steel and rip this guy apart. See you in a few. Okay, guys. What happened, Jesse? You want to tell them what? Okay, so in typical ProNoob fashion, we kind of got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Once again, we're just playing around with some ideas. I figured a few things out. So I would like to introduce you to the ProNoob chassis jig 9000. It's made with a bunch of garbage and more copper in there, so some value here, of course. This is that old axial frame that was in our I-beams truck. Apparently it is bent. This side's a little more flat than that side. We found that out. I don't know if we filmed a video on that, but yeah, we had to swap the chassis anyhow. So we used that. We drilled out for the chassis. I think we had to just make the holes a little bit bigger. We found it's set for 320 millimeters, so I think that is a little bit longer than factory. Where's my retractable distance finder? Yeah, so we're 12.5-ish, 12 and... yeah, we're about 320 mils, just over 12.5 inches, so a little bit longer. We have the portal boxes kind of kicked out in the front, a little more caster that gives you a little more length. We went 3-link front and 3-link rear, as you guys seen earlier in the video. We're using the Axial 10-III chassis, so we've kind of got it mocked up. We found this was the best way to kind of hold everything together. I used a piece of 1/2-inch MDF under the bottom to lift my skid plate up. It actually worked out to be the same height as the bottom of the pumpkin on the front axle, so we put everything into its lowest droop position. The front shocks, I've deconstructed, took them apart, took the springs off them. I will internally spring them so they're pulled down when we get there, and then we just put some tabs there. So right now we're building everything in its complete compressed load-out droop position. Yeah, it's kind of our first real full chassis build, kind of just ground up. I know we just did Spartan with the SCX6, but we really followed kind of their body lines really, like for the hood and stuff like that, right? So this guy is kind of our first ground up. We wanted to do something different, so I just started throwing some different pieces at it. Like this tube runs up, across, all the way down, bends down here, and it's not equal. I wanted it to be different. Just playing around with stuff, learning some techniques and stuff. Now with having the motor in the rear so far back, it's not going to be the most capable. We're going to put a lot of weight in the front to help counterbalance that. There's a lot of guys building the RC buggies right now. We're just kind of messing around. There's a few parts coming out we want to get our hands on to do that. When we do our next buggy, we're going to use the VFD, and we're going to use the stubby, and we'll put the motor on the back of it so we can shorten this package up quite a bit. But anyhow, good starting point. The front end is pretty much done. We did pretty simple. Now the shock mounts, I'm actually using, well, I had one here example, but I lost it. Motorcycle chain link. You can see we've just cut those down. I bought one of those chain brake tools off Amazon, so we can pop all the parts and pieces apart. You get a bunch of spacer tubes, pins, links, a whole bunch of stuff you get with them. You got to grind out a little bit on the bottom of the Dremel to make them clear the shock. Like this one's already done on this side, so it fits in there nice, clears nice. Pretty simple to line up and get done. And then we did our panhard mount over here with a big drop, so I can keep the panhard sitting like that. And unfortunately right now we're not able to order the behind the axle servo mount from 1/10 scale. We're dealing with some health issues over there, so right now we're not able to order, so we have to make our own, and that's going to be a challenge. We're going to have to cut a couple pieces, just a basic template so we can get the shape of the servo started, and kind of some distance from here to here. That's all we have so far. We need to build a mount to put our servo back there, like so. We can have the behind the axle servo. Then we'll have the horn sticking out the front, swinging below the panhard. So when this guy comes up, this guy will move with. That's totally fine. It's not going to hit the servo. Fingers crossed, everything's going to work out good. But yeah, anyhow, let's, we got P-Rod for the driver. P-Rod's made a few other appearances in other trucks. The Street League Skater, they're all rubbery and stuff. They got real jeans on and stuff and cool shoes. They fit the build. We've got him pretty much going to sit right on top of the transmission. And he's going to have his dig lever here for the front dig. So it'll work out pretty cool. And he's going to pretty much fit right about there. Yeah, we put in a front little floor pan here last night, and we're going to build a little foot box in there and put some pedals and crap in there. So, like I said, just playing around. Tonight we're going to build the back half. Jesse and I are going to order some pizza and pop a movie on and kind of sit here, bend some steel. We got some ideas. I did pick up some more stainless tubing so I can make the rear mounts that are going to support this rear transmission. You're going to have that supported because the two screws that are holding it in the front are not enough to keep this guy in there. It will rip out when you start tumbling and flipping down a hill. So we'll catch you guys back with an update as we go. There's really not much to film besides watching Jess and I come up with a bunch of bad ideas and then one good idea with possibly a non-horrible execution to that idea. So we'll catch you guys back here in just a few seconds once we get the back half built to show you what we do with that. Okay guys, as promised, it's been a few seconds, but more like 2.5 hours in the shop. Jesse and I bent a whole bunch of different pieces of stainless rod up. We're using 3/16 stainless rod again. We bent up a bunch of different pieces so we can come from here, kind of tucking close here, up to the shock and around the back. It was just a waste of time. We ended up just making a basic hoop, put a little kick up on the end. We did a little bit of a jig-a-jow bend here to bring it back in around this motor mount, as this guy does stick a little bit farther out this side with the offset of the motor can. We did a quick measurement to find the center of the axle. We marked it. We eyeballed the frame towards center. It's pretty close. Maybe 2-3 millimeters out, but again, we don't care. We're not building this buggy to be symmetrical. We're building it to have some fun and do some building practices and different kind of building techniques. It is a lot of fun just to build a truck like this ground up. It's going to be a cool unit. So going forward, we need to build our mounts for our shocks on the rear. We're going to use those pieces of motorcycle chain that I discussed that we broke down. We cut off the one side. I give it a little bit of a V-notch groove like that on my bench grinder. Give it a V groove. It doesn't have to be round or clean. Of course, you can do it better. Now, this is just our first kind of bang together build, so it actually fits very nice on the V-notch. You get a little bit, about a millimeter gap in the front, so once you weld that up, it's gone. Again, you'll need to cut out a little bit of that throat just right in there. The shock cap kind of hits a little bit, but super minor. And you can buy a bicycle chain for like $8 on Amazon, the chain brake tool, and just spend a day taking it apart. Soak all the parts though in alcohol to get, part degreaser to get all the soaked oil out of it. So when it comes time to weld and stuff, it actually welds and takes nicely. From here, we have a bunch of 3D printing to do, and then we can build the cage around that. So I'm quickly just going to tie a small 1/8 inch steel rod support. We have some smaller material. I'm just going to tie a little kickstand in there to hold this guy up and down. Actually, he's pretty sturdy. I don't even think I need to do that. But we're going to work on getting the shocks, the panhard in, and then a whole bunch of 3D printing. We have the 22R going in. Now we had one that we found that fit. You can see I cut the top of that 3D print off because it was 3 inches long at the size of the driver, the size of the motor and everything, and these are 1-ton portal axles, and we're having a 40-inch scale long 22RE just wasn't working. So Jesse is going to help me rescale that down so we can just put the parts on top to make it more scale and fit on top. We have the turbo kit, an intercooler, a radiator, an oil cooler, a battery, starter, all that gubbins to fit in here. So we basically want to get our main lower hoop up so we can get our suspension done and tied in, and we'll build the rest around everything else as we go. I still need to put a crossbar in the front so I can mount a dash, another piece of longer steel tube, stainless tube running down with a shaft inside of it to a steering wheel. We have to have the steering wheel, the full dash interior. Then we need to hide all the electronics. We are going to go with a quick run fusion. We're going to throw that in there at 1800 kV. That way we can get rid of having to hide the ESC. So basically then we're just hiding the receiver and a battery. So that's pretty cake. Oh, and one servo. We're going to keep the front dig on this setup, and we're going to ditch the 2-speed. No need for it. The 2-speed on the 10-III was very small anyway. It wasn't leaps and bounds quicker. It was a couple teeth. It really wasn't there. So, and once we're in the transmission at that time, we'll let you know another video we're going to do, but we're going to try to get rid of a little bit of that slop in there. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. We have probably about a week or two of 3D printing, so stay tuned, follow this build. You'll see a couple shorts coming up. I didn't want to put any up to obviously ruin part 1 of the build series for you guys. So yeah, by the time we get part 2 rolling, we're going to have all the prints printed, installed. We can start building around it, and by that time I'm hoping some of the other parts that we have on order are going to start showing up so we can get serious and build a real We Rock type buggy. Again, this guy will be okay, but the transmission and the motor setup is not how I want to start my We Rock buggy career. Championship, yes. What? The thing, yeah. Okay, we out. We'll see you on the next one. See you on round 2.